Hey, it's Juck. We are not bemoaning the noon kickoff. We are now owning it. It's a badge of honor. We're the lunatic fringe that defines our coach's legacy when it comes to this game. They don't get to define that outside the family. And welcome into Juck on Bucks. It is showtime. Appreciate you so much for joining me as we convene here for probably the 9th, 10th, or 11th one of these. I should know the proper number here in the last 30 days. In the last 30 days, the Buckeyes been on fire. Maybe 40 days, probably 11. I think this is our 11th one in the last 40 days. Absolutely bananas. The Buckeyes' amazing run continues. And after adding big one-tech Emmanuel Ruffin to Jameer Perez, we saw Cam Brickle flip out of the class. Cam Brickle, a defensive tackle, and losing him and bringing in Ruffin is a net positive. That was an upgrade. And adding him to both of those guys, Jameer Perez and Emmanuel Ruffin, with 3-tech Damari Simeon, those were your 3 interior guys, with Dre Quinn, a true edge on the outside, and then one of the prize recruits of the entire class, Kari Wilder, who I believe comes in and makes an immediate impact as a true freshman, will play all over the defensive line, a la Caden Curry. That was 5. 5 defensive linemen in this class, and that was a great class. I was thinking, okay, that's it. The Buckeyes had Darryus Mckinley, an LSU recruit, up on November 15th for an official visit. But Darryus Mckinley out of Acadiana, Louisiana, which is pretty fun to say, Acadiana, Louisiana. His older brother, Darryus McKinley, his older brother, Dominic McKinley, a 5-star recruit who the Buckeyes made it as a hat on the table in his final 5, but he ended up choosing LSU. And obviously we see Brian Kelly get fired. Darryus was committed to LSU to play with his brother, and Ohio State decides to, feel him out, see what's up. So they get him up on campus on November 15th, and LSU just may get their new coach in the form of Lane Kiffin this weekend. But as of now, Darryus McKinley has officially given his verbal to Ohio State. Now, should Lane Kiffin end up going to take that LSU job, do things change? Maybe. But I don't know. This feels pretty solid. The signing day starts December 3rd to the 5th. Just got another week or so left. And Darryus McKinley had a lot of great things to say about Ohio State. And he obviously knows that the Lane stuff is potentially coming here, at least that it's a real possibility. He was just at LSU like 3 days ago. Remember, November 15th, comes to Ohio State, goes and visits LSU just a couple days ago, and then makes his decision. And that decision is to flip out of that class, knowing Lane Kiffin might be coming, knowing his big brother is in that place. His brother playing SEC freshman of the week one time this year. So the dude's doing the thing there. And Darryus elects to leave Louisiana, another one, to come up to the state of Ohio. He had to say about his visit at Ohio State, while I was there, I felt like I was already on the team and how they treated me and my family. They're worried about developing me to be a better person on and off the field. It was all around a great experience, and I'm glad I took that visit. And Ohio State's latest pitch is perfect. So they're taking advantage of all the success of their NFL players, not just getting guys to the NFL, but the success that they're having. And they have kind of moved that thing from, we're going to get you to the NFL, to, we're going to get you that second contract. Anybody can get you to the NFL. You come here, you're going to get the second NFL contract. That's where the big money is, and it's the perfect pitch. I love it. Pretty clever on their part. And I suspect we'll start hearing that one used by other places that have guys that are starting to have big success in the NFL. But they're so good at this, man. There's so much gamesmanship going on here. And gamesmanship, I think, with Dominic McKinley as well. Dominic wasn't somebody, Darryus wasn't somebody, the younger brother, that they were in on throughout this. But Brian Kelly gets fired. There's Dominic. That would be a great potential portal ad. Oh, he's got a little brother. Why don't we go see about the little brother, who is good enough, not just good enough, but I think a really good ad on his own, whether or not you get older brother Dominic to enter the portal and flip as well, which, remember, the portal time's coming soon. So if that were to work out, it would happen quickly. And Definitely he's going to be a big target for the Buckeyes to try to get. Is it a possibility? Sure. But like I said, regardless, Ohio State getting Darryus McKinley, the younger brother, is a very good ad. I really like this kid. It is unbelievable that you now have two brothers out of Louisiana, Blaine Bradford and Darryus McKinley, whose older brothers are on the LSU football team. That's crazy. In addition to that, you had Fahim Delane as a freshman at Ohio State this year, and his older brother, Mansour Delane, was a corner at LSU. He transferred in from Virginia Tech. By the way, that dude, stock way up. He might be a first-round draft pick, Fahim Delane's older brother, which is awesome. But just crazy that you've now pulled out of a state that was previously untapped and almost, I would say Louisiana and Ohio were the two hardest places to pull kids out of in the entire country. Coaches wouldn't even try. And we've seen the walls kind of come down from the state of Ohio, but just as much as that, we're seeing it in the state of Louisiana as well. And it just goes to show you how much the times have changed. When you can penetrate Ohio and Louisiana and literally get brothers out of the state, it's just unbelievable. And Ohio State able to do that twice now in the same class, which really shows you there are no walls anymore. Ohio State can go anywhere they want. And when we talk about Darryus McKinley and why I like this kid on his own, whether or not you can sway his older brother, who is a 6'6", 310-pound monster, Darryus, 6'3", 270, is a production machine. In this kid's sophomore, junior, and senior year, he logged from the defensive line over 200 tackles. In his senior year alone, 72 tackles, 27 tackles for loss. The year prior, he had 15 tackles for loss. He has 15 sacks in the last 2 years, including 9.5 in his senior year. Plays inside. He plays outside. Another versatile piece on the defensive line, but I see him more as an inside guy at Ohio State. And I think he'll end up filling out to about 300 pounds. He has very long arms. He uses that length effectively, stacking and shedding blocks, plays with a good pad level, sacrifices his body. He's diving all over the place, and he's not the most twitched up guy. Of course he's not, right? If he was, he'd be a 5-star. Speaking of which, we should probably go over his ranking. He is a 3-star with Rivals and a 3-star with 247. Rivals has him at about number 464 in the country. So, you know, the blue chip line is about 400. So he's right there. I think he's closer to a blue chipper than not. I really like him. I really like him as a player, and I think he could be a potential high-level starter. I think that is a possibility. It's not going to happen for a couple of years. He needs a couple of years of development. But when we look at the last couple of classes, and I'm kind of liking recently to lump 25 and 26 together, because these were two classes that needed to be big on the defensive line. Because when we go back a couple years prior, you brought in just Edric Houston and Dominic Kirks. And the year prior to that, you got Will Smith Jr. and K-Mac, who were playing good. But then you got Josh Mickens, who very well might wind up somewhere else in the transfer portal. And then Jason Moore, who's not really done much. And who knows, might he blossom? Maybe, maybe not. So you needed to go pretty heavy in 25 and in 26. And I really love the crew of guys that they brought in. When we look at 3-tech, you got two really high-end 3-techs with Damari Simeon in 26, Jarquez Carter in 25. And I think that you now can have Darryus McKinley would be right behind those two. And then behind them would be Trajan Odom from 25. When you talk about 1-techs, you've got Emmanuel Ruffin, who I think is the best of that bunch, then Max Roy. And he was in 25, and then Jameer Perez in 26, who is kind of in a category unto his own. At his size, you can use him to do some different things, some different alignments, and it's pretty special, man. He's a pretty big kid. So really like him, like those interior guys. And then on the edge, you've got Kari, who can do everything. You've got Zion Grady, who's ready to start next year. And then you've got Epi Satanile and Dre Quinn, who are a little more pass rush specialist type of dudes at this time in their development. I think Epi will be big enough to be able to be a 3-down guy. But I love the mix of guys. I love the talent when we combine those two together. Fantastic group of guys that they brought in to kind of replenish the ranks and make sure they were, quote, flush with guys. And that is what Ryan Day has done here, is made sure they're flush with guys. When the new rules came out, the new transfer portal rules, that there was going to be no more spring portal and no opportunity for Ohio State to be able to backfill guys should they lose them at the end. Should they go to the national championship and their roster opens up for 5 days and anybody can come make ridiculous offers, because keep in mind, all those schools, they can't do anything in the spring either. So if they miss out on their portal targets, they've got one more shot. Let's go after the national championship rosters, pay them whatever they need, or we're going to be stuck with nobody. And Ohio State wisely said, all right, well, we need to make sure we use a couple of these extra spots we got. Remember, they only wanted to go to about 90 guys, 90 scholarship guys, but they can go up to 105. All right, forget the 90. If we need to go up, we're going to go up over that, because we need to make sure we don't get caught with roster holes. And it's a perfect strategy. I love it. Ryan Day, Mark Pantoni, these guys have done such an amazing job in this class, going from where they were, sitting at the 9th ranked class in the country. They have now jumped Tennessee, Texas A&M, Texas, Alabama, schools that we know at least 3 of them were blatantly not following the new rules that Ohio State was following. And to be able to jump them while following the rules shows just how fantastic these guys have been. Will they be able to hold strong in that 5th position, or will somebody able to leap them in the end? Who knows? But the bottom line is, this class looks vastly different than it did a month and a half ago, and it looked pretty good back then. Now, what does the rival class look like that it's rivalry week? I mean, we might as well take a look at their class. They are currently sitting behind LSU in the 12th spot and right in front of Florida. So they're sandwiched right between 2 programs that don't have a coach. Oh, that's something, man. That's something. There is one more guy out there, and the Buckeyes are waiting kind of on the decision here of CJ Brona out of Florida, Windermere, Florida, the cornerback, highly rated cornerback. Would be great to get him in the class. But I feel like the Florida commit, every day that goes by, is not good, obviously, but it feels like, I think obviously Florida made him another offer because it felt like it was going Buckeyes and going Buckeyes fast. And they're trying their best to keep their class together for the new coach. Is he potentially, or his representation, waiting to see if that next coach is Lane Kiffin, who will make his decision on Saturday? If Lane chooses LSU, is that it? Or does he want to try to hold it out past the early signing day and go out to February? If he does want to do that, wants to wait and see who the new coach is and wait that long, I think it probably shows you where his priorities are. And, you know, maybe we don't see the Buckeyes even, they might even stop pursuing him. Who knows? But looking less and less likely the longer he waits. As for the guys in this class that people are making runs at, Kari Wilder, Tennessee made a big push at Kari Wilder, as did USC. He's as solid as they come. He's all Buckeye. Oregon has a massive offer on the table for Chris Henry Jr. But Chris, a guy who didn't grow up without money, and I just don't think it entices him. I think he's much more enticed by sticking with his commitment. And as a guy who needs development, Oregon just has no track record of it at all at wide receiver. And Brian Hartline is the guy that he feels can make him that polished wide receiver. And he's a guy who's going for greatness. He wants to be a great wide receiver. He just doesn't want to be, I don't even think the second contract stuff is the thing you sell him on. He wants to be a great wide receiver. I don't think the Buckeyes are going to lose anybody out of this class from now to signing day. And I love it. I love this robust collection of talent. I love the evaluations. I love what Ryan Day decided to do with the numbers. I love the 28 guys. And it just keeps on rolling. This has been one of the more exciting classes we've ever had. It's been the most exciting class we've ever had. This finish has been amazing. I think that this will be the finish Look, it's never going to be like this again, I doubt, but I think we can look forward to a lot of the action happening late here, because I think they've realized, man, we really got some serious value in some of these guys who didn't skyrocket up the boards until after we got on them and we signed them. And it's fantastic. So all great stuff. It's been a wonderful deal. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I hope you have a wonderful time with your family, and I hope to reconvene here with you on Friday. And we will do another show the day after Thanksgiving, as we do, because it's the day before the game, and we can't just shop and things of that nature. That's not in our style. We'll talk some football. So I will see you guys then. Juck and Bucks out.